Today we're gonna go over 11 stupid simple ways to beat 95% of people. Why stupid simple? Because anybody can do them and the bar for success is so fucking low, and these will completely change the way you think about winning in life. If you're asking yourself, why would I want to beat other people? Isn't life about working together, not competing with others? You are wrong. That old saying that the important thing is not to win but to participate is a lie. Not everybody can win, and you don't want to be on the losing side after the battle is finished. Life is a PvP game, player versus player, and nobody has an option to decline the game of life, and everybody hates losing, so you better learn how to play it. The best way to learn is to try, fail, and repeat, but that takes a lot of time. Months, years, even decades, and you don't want to give that time. So what you need is a head start, and you learn how to get that head start through something called game theory. It's a study of how decision making impacts us and the people around us through different situations. Math was never my thing, but in simple terms, it's understanding and practicing how shit works in real life based on probabilities. I'm not gonna try and convince you that life is a player versus player game. For that, you just need to look at the evidence of something, for example, monetary disposition, where 10% of the world's population holds 83% of the wealth. We're not all created and conditioned equally. Life's not fair, and that's not something to resent. It just is. Maybe those 10% of people provide more value or perceived value to the world than the other 90%. Maybe not. My point is that competition is everywhere. People like to compete. It's in our nature, and people who say that they don't like to compete always lose. And not everybody can win, and not everybody should win because of factors like talent, effort, and decision making. How can you win is what we're going to talk about, and that's where we get into the topic of the dominant strategy. The dominant strategy is just what it sounds like. You know, when you play a video game, let's say Mortal Kombat, and there's one character that's just overpowered. It's better than every other character, and your friend of course picks him and then figures out the best attack and then spams that attack and beats you every time because you can't defend it. That's the concept of the dominant strategy. It's the same in the game of life. Most people aren't any smarter than you. They just figured out what works for them, and then they just spam that same thing over and over again. There's this story that Alex Hormozi told about a guy who owns a trash collecting business. Yes, not a fancy AI company, a business that collects trash from different communities. That guy then scaled his business and sold it to a private equity firm for millions of dollars. And when he sold it, he had a contract that prevented him from starting the same business model in the next 2 years. So for 2 years, this guy sat and waited for his opportunity. So Alex met him one day and told him, the contract is expiring soon. What are you going to do now? And the guy answered, start a trash collecting business. It's what I'm good at. Why would I want to do anything else? He later goes on to start the same business, scales it all over again, and then sells it to the same private equity firm that bought his first business for another few million. The guy is the ultimate spamming troll. He cracked the code. The question now is, how can you be like that dude and find an infinite win glitch? You do it with the L.I.P framework, the L.I.P framework. So first you learn and understand how the game works. So this is the car I'm driving. When I click X, I get a boost. When I slam the brakes, I stop. So learn the basics of the game. The second step is to identify what the dominant strategy in the game is. So like, why is everybody in the game picking the Mercedes 2002 or the BMW 2021? Probably because they are the best cars. And the last step is that out of those 3, 4, 5 dominant strategies, you pick the one that suits you the most. So for example, you're playing a video game and you're picking between a Desert Eagle pistol, a AK-47, and the FAMAS gun. The Desert Eagle is good, but it's a pistol. You know, you don't want to play with that. The FAMAS is a good gun. It has good firing speed, but low damage. But the AK is cool. It does a good ton of damage. It really suits the playing style, and I don't know, it's easy to operate. So you pick the AK-47 and you beat almost everyone with it. And that's your dominant strategy. But what if picking the dominant strategy isn't enough? For example, other people also discover and find their dominant strategies. So now you know the same thing. This will happen and you will have to work a bit more to beat them. But here I have 11 things that will make all the difference. 95% of people won't do these 11 things. And if you execute on them, you'll be in the 1 to 5th percentile in your field, in your game. The first advice is to pick the right game. There's no point in trying to beat everybody else at something you're not destined for. Talent is a real thing, and you're ignorant if you think it's not. If you pick something you're not suited for, you won't get the results you're looking for no matter how hard you try. It's like trying to put a square peg in a round hole. I talk about this in my Should You Follow Your Passion video. You can check it out on my channel, but I'll just briefly go over it now. The main question you want to ask yourself when you're choosing the game you want to play in your life is, what's easy for me but hard for others? Hint, don't follow your passion. Follow what you're good at. The passion will come later. The second is to focus on your game. If you learn how to get into deep focus for 2 to 4 hours a day and focus on your thing, you'll become unstoppable. Zone in on your tasks like an iPad kid. The point is to study and learn how to focus. Yes, learn how to focus. And there's a few books on it, but I would recommend The Flow from Mihail Csikszentmihalyi. Side note, also learn how to rest hard. There's only a certain number of hours in a day that your brain can be in a deep focus state. And after that, it says, okay, lights out and shuts off like a power bank. So those hours that you have, use them productively and then forget about work. Be a professional basketball player. Go train hard for 2 to 4 hours a day and then go fucking play video games. Forget about work. If you stress about something all day, it will occupy your mind so much that you'll burn out at the end. Number 3 is show up on time. The bar for success is low. People don't do the basic things like showing up on time anymore. Make sure you do that because that's not a standard anymore, and people will find you unique and organized, and they will get a piece of sunshine every time they see you. Even more important, keep showing up. Stick to the plan. No matter how distracted you are today or how much you don't want to go to the gym, keep showing up. Do the worst workout ever, but at least know that it's done because consistency negates luck. Number 4 is to have basic social skills. Have a firm handshake. Remember people's names. Learn how to compliment. Learn how to tell a joke. Learn how to flirt, small talk. Learn to show appreciation. Just don't be a fucking weirdo. Nobody finds you mysterious and interesting. Learn the basics of how to deal with people and make them feel good. You can find all of this in a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's one of the best things that you will ever read, and it's almost 100 years old. So the advice that the author is speaking of is time-tested and validated. The 5th is to keep learning. You go to college for 4 years and you get a master's in marketing. Please don't act like you know everything. You probably don't know how most things work. You learned in college things that were used decades ago, and now when you enter the real world, everything else works in basically the opposite way. Be open to learning, not even open. Go hunt for knowledge. Set a timer every day, 60 minutes. Get a mentor to teach you things. Start your own thing. Go to market. See how it really works. The 6th thing is to reach out first, and you don't know how sending a basic message is changing my life around right now as we speak. Sending a DM on Instagram got me multiple millionaire clients and so many beautiful relationships. People don't understand the power of a simple DM message, a comment, an email. It sounds absurd right now, but I'll tell you, 5 to 50 messages a day will change your life. Number 7 is to be a stoic. Develop a stoic mindset. But what do I mean by this? 2 things. Focus on the things that you can control and move on fast from the things that you can't control. Let's say you're in a relationship and you can feel like your partner is frustrated. You can feel like something is off. They're criticizing you for small things. They're irritated. You feel like you're walking on eggshells around them. Do this. Focus on the things that are in your control. Are you on time? Are you treating them with respect? Are you invested in the relationship? Are you taking care of them, providing, protecting? And if it all checks out, and if you do this over a period of time, believe me, the problem is not you. The Stoic focuses on what he can control because everything else disturbs his inner peace. And he also moves on fast from things that he cannot make an impact on. And so should you. Number 8 is know when to stop. And this one addresses the sunk cost fallacy that you should definitely be careful of. It's the tendency to always follow through with the things that we've already invested a ton of time, mental effort, and money into. That's why you see those 7-year relationships where both people don't even love each other anymore, but they're so invested in the other person that they only can wait and maybe hope that something will happen in the future and change. But it won't. This can be a business that's failing, a paid mentorship that's not working, and one of the ways to fix it is to become aware. Awareness is self-corrective, so from now on, whenever you get into this frenzy of digging your hole deeper and deeper, your mind will throw you a rope of awareness to let you know that you should climb out of it and move on. Number 9 is to be a generalist. Elon isn't the best engineer at Tesla or SpaceX. Steve Jobs was not the best developer at Apple, but they did make the most successful companies though. It's because they are not specialists. They are generalists. They know how to collect all the pieces and make a puzzle. That's like the leader in a group project. He's never the best at making presentations or coming up with these concepts, but when he comes in, he's like, Sally, you go do this. Mark, you're on this. I will take this, and the next thing you know, the project is done. Naval says specialization is for insects, and this is the quote that clicks for me the most because I'm very good at a lot of things, but I'm not an expert at anything. So if I were to give you one advice, it's be a generalist. Focus on being good at a lot of things, not a master of one. Number 10 is just doing some form of fitness regularly. And I don't mean like 2 times a day, I mean like 3 times a week, consistently running, doing jiu-jitsu, going to the gym, or maybe like 4, 5, 6, depending on on the period of your life, if you have that amount of time, if it's your priority, but do physical stuff. It will separate you from the fat people to the fit people who can take on more stress, who can take on more things physically, who can just live a happier life. The last one is to build your character. Start a business, read philosophy, run, lift weights, fight, travel, explore, do things that will make you experience the broadness of life. That's how you build a unique character. You go to a mission, you level up your experience. You beat a boss, you get 20 strength points. And the next thing you know, you're a complete badass. It's the same in life. Plus, people like and remember unique and cool people. Nobody's going to remember Robert from the networking event, but everybody will remember Vladimir, the jacked guy who builds communities online with a scar from a snake bite from Amazon. Do you see where I'm getting at? Of course, I don't promote doing dangerous stuff, but dangerous is a subjective thing. This was the philosophy behind why life is a competition and the 11 ways to beat 95% of people. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you did and click the bell notification so you get notified whenever a new video comes out. But before I say goodbye, I did make a community for content creators who see content creation as a way of life. So if that sounds up your alley, you can go to the link in the descriptions, click on the Patreon link and see if it fits for you and if it makes sense for you. We're still small, so it's a pretty intimate atmosphere right there, and we get on weekly calls to discuss and work on things like accountability, writing, filming, editing, systems, efficiency, leading a content team, and of course, how we see the world. Don't forget, humans work the best when working together. That's how we survived. Don't get it twisted though. Your competition would do to you what you're afraid of doing to them any day of the week. A warrior must not feel for his enemy. The road ahead is long and unforgiving. No place for a boy. You must be a warrior. Until the next time.